my countrymen. This is Elivel Islao Pamatong, President of the Republic of the Philippines. And once again, I have come to share with you very important developments in my country and to a certain extent, a part of the world community. There is a limit to the suffering that the people can bear. No matter how long the suffering may be, there is a limit to the suffering that a nation can bear. When that limit is reached, the people rise violently to dislodge the burden. It took us so many years to reach the limit of our suffering against Spain. I think about 333 years. But somehow we rose in unity and fought the Spaniards in the shores of Mindanao, in the shores of Bohol, here in Central Luzon. Some of our shorelines were red with the crimson blood of the Spanish conquistadores. But it took us so long. Whereas the Vietnamese, I think it took only 34 years for them to fight the French and routed the French at the Battle of Dien Bien Phu in 1954 against about 87,000 troops. And then in 1975, the people of Vietnam forced the greatest power on earth to go away, get out of Vietnam, the American power in 1975. So there is a limit that the people can bear, the suffering that they are undergoing. We have reached that limit after 333 years under Spain, 4 years under Japan, and we are still undergoing suffering now under the people of China. 70 years and still counting. And I think that limit is reached. That's why on March 22, 2014, I declared war against China. Now, you might ask, sino ba itong tarantadong pamatong na ito mag-declare ng war? Hindi naman gobyerno. All right, let me tell you why. I filed 4 petitions with the Supreme Court of the Philippines, asking the Supreme Court to tell the army, the sleeping army, like Rip Van Winkle, sleeping army of the Philippines, to drive the Chinese away from the West Philippine Sea. The Supreme Court, 4 times stupid, goddamn Supreme Court, Supreme curse the Philippines, dismissed 4 of my petitions, saying there was lack of merit. Lack of merit. And so when I realized that the Supreme Court was in fact a curse of the Filipino people, I filed several petitions with the armed forces of the Philippines. One of the most memorable petitions was that about 19 volumes of petitions signed by 1 million people, asking the armed forces, the protector of the people, the protector of the territory of the Philippines, to drive the Chinese out of the West Philippine Sea. Wala niha-niho. Ay ganun kakapal yung final ko. 14 volumes. Kasama ko pa yun si Anhing Lozano, the late Lozano. Siya ang pinahawak ko. Sabi ko, ikaw, abogado yung present mo. Doon, nakatayo lang. Meron akong picture. Yung file ko sa Armed Forces of the Philippines, kung magpunta kayo doon sa office ng Chief of Staff, lampas na ulo ng bata. They are all petitions asking time and again and again and again for the Armed Forces of the Philippines to follow their oath to protect the country and the Constitution upon which the country stands. But hindi, wala mga nagsagot sa akin, maski one sentence. Mabuti pa yung presidente ng Amerika, pag sumusulat ako, sinasagot ako. Pero itong mga tao sa Pilipinas, I don't know, wala akong kwenta. Masakit. Kasi ginawa ko yan, hindi naman para sa akin. Para sa inyo, nakinig sa akin, kayo mga Pilipino. Mahal ko kayo, I don't have to overemphasize that fact. But yun ang reason bakit ginawa ko yan. That's why, hindi makinig sa akin yung armed forces, hindi makinig at Supreme Court. And then dakdak ako sa inyo para gigising kayo sa mahimping ng pagkatulog sa gabi ng ating pagkalipin. Tulugin kayo. Hinagis ko na kayo ng spike. About 500,000 to 1 million spikes to wake you up from a deep slumber of lethargy and apathy. Wala pa rin, natulog pa rin kayo mga Pilipino kayo. Tulog. Mailing-iling lang po. Ano ba gawin ko? Sa halip na sabi Pamatong, Mr. Pamatong, salamat. Naginising mo kami. Wala. Tinahog pa akong nuisance. Could you imagine that? After I wrote about 30 books, after the American embassy or the American government says Pamatong is an honest man and a patriot, after Marcos introduced me to the President of America as his favorite leader, after all these accolades from leaders of the country, yung mga tao natin, especially ABS-CBN, GMA7, sabay-sabay nagsabi nga, nuisance daw ako. Alam ba yung nuisance? Sa Cebuano, Samukan. Dapat ilaparuhon yan, Samukan. But naka-nuisance ba yan? I was just trying to remind you that the country is dying. You understand? You must wake up from that deep slumber, like Rip Van Winkle, who slept for 20 years. And when he woke up, his wife was there, not there anymore. Right? Hindi ako pinakinggan. Alright. So, yun ang reason. Sabi ko, ayaw ng gobyerno. Utang ina yung gobyerno na yun. Ginamit ko na yung mga terminology ni Digong. Nagdigongayas na rin ako eh. Putang ina na rin ako eh. Thank you, Digong, for teaching me how to say putang ina. Putang ina ito mga Filipino na ito. Putang ina na ito. Hindi makinig ang Supreme Court. Hindi makinig ang armed forces. Hindi gumising ang Filipino. Putang ina. March 22, November 14th, in Cagayan de Oro, I declared war against China. So what? If you call me crazy, hindi ginawa sa gobyerno yung duty nila. Hindi ginawa ng armed forces yung duty nila. Hindi ninyo ginawa ang tungkulin bilang citizens ng Pilipinas. Tinawag pa niyo akong gunggong nuisance. So I declared war March 22, 2014 in Cagayan de Oro. And I burned the Chinese flag and I fired at the picture of Jinping, my 45. I fired at his picture and burned the picture of Jinping. And defiance against more than 70 years of Chinese oppression of the Filipino people. You saw that. Now, yun ang reason mag-declare ako ng war, November 14. I mean, March 22, 2014. March 22, 2014. Yeah. Now, declaration lang yun. Hindi wala patok implementation. Alright? Kasi nagpakiramdam rin ako. Baka naman yung army gigising rin eh. Tulog ng tulog. Narinig ko kay Digong, busog na busog pala. Hindi na makatayo, busog na busog. Lumalaki yung mga bayag. Yung tabi ng bayag, lumalaki. Hindi na, mabigat na, hindi na makatayo yung mga ponyeta na yan sa army. So I realized, wala talaga pag-asa. May wala kayo. Minsan nagbiro ako. Wala pag-asa. Kayo, Filipino, nakinig sa akin. Wala kayo pag-asa. Darating maraw, sabi ni Hillary, the Philippines will be a subject of China. Hillary Clinton. Idulo ko yung babae na yun. Probriyado rin ko. I remember one time when she went to school in Chicago, isa lang jacket nila, kapatid niya, lalaki. Palit-palit sila ng jacket. Pag malimig na yung katawan ni Hillary, kinukuha niya yung jacket sa brother. Pag malamig na yung sa brother katawan niya, binigay niya. Pulob yan, but brilliant. Brilliant. Yun lang, hindi pinagbigyan. Anyway, yeah. I declare war. It was declaration. Declaration. Hindi ko na matiis. Minumura ko na yung mga Philippine government officials. Doon sa Comelec, sinasabi ko, magnanakaw kayo. Anong ginawa? Hinangkaf ako kung salamat. At least, nakahingi rin ako ng pansin. Kulang ako sa pansin eh. So, hinangkaf ako. Okay, inulong ako. Doon sa malapit sa kubyertang nasira, hindi ako makahinga. Baba yung tae na parang bundok na yung tae. Sinadya nila. Tortured ako for 6 days. In the same way, I was tortured in Laguna, right? So, okay lang. I am taking this in stride for you, my people, my countrymen. Alright. Ngayon, the time has come for implementation. I am very serious this time. I want you who are listening to me as the true president of the Republic of the Philippines to implement the declaration of war which I made on March 22, 2014. Implement the war. Launch the war against China here on Philippine soil. Observe the Geneva rules of war. There is a rule on war. There are rules of war under the Geneva Convention. Observe that. But tonight, officially, I'm asking you who believe in me to be your president, to launch an all-out war against China here on Philippine soil. Burn everything that looks like China. Dito telco. Any Chinese who came to the Philippines illegally, especially the 3 million Chinese who came here through the Gong and Jinping. Kill them, fuck their heads with bullets. The time has come for us. There will be no violation of human rights because, in the first place, they are violating our right to live happily in our homeland. Remember what happened in Indonesia in 1965, 1966? 3 million Chinese were butchered by the Indonesian people for dehumanizing the Indonesian people, for abusing the Indonesian people. There were no accusations of human rights violation. Why? They're fighting for survival, national survival. That is what I am going to tell you tonight. You rise up. I don't know how you will do it. I am not an expert in the rules of war like Sun Tzu. Do it. The most important thing is you win. Destroy whatever looks like China in the Philippines. I don't know how you'll do it. Just observe the Geneva rules of war. We are guided by war, even in the midst of war. Well, they say everything is fair in love and war. Maybe that's true. But I want you to be human. I want you to respect Chinese citizens, children, women. Do not rape their women. Love them. Women are not made to be raped. They are made to be loved, right? But those who came here illegally, you kill them. Blow their heads with your guns or caliber 45. Kill them. Hang them. Burn their stores belonging to Chinese people. I mean, those who are illegally. We are oppressed, and we have reached a point of no return. We cannot turn back. We cannot afford to lose this country. I remember Julius Caesar when he crossed the Rubicon with his people, because Rubicon was a forbidden river. When you cross Rubicon, you die. But Caesar crossed the Rubicon, and he burned the boats that his people were using after crossing the Rubicon, so they cannot turn back. And he shouted to the heavens, "Comrades, we have reached the point of no return." And Caesar became the emperor of Rome, right? My countrymen in the Philippines, we have reached a point of no return. We have to fight for this country toe to toe, belt to belt, and reclaim our country from the hands of China, from the hands of this reptilian monster oppressing the people for so long. How long more shall we bear the pains and the suffering and the misery inflicted on our souls by the Chinese people? How long? Kailan pa tayo lalaban? Kailan pa kayo gumising? Kung mawala na ang Pilipinas, I want you to wake up now. You know why you are not fighting? Honestly, you are not fighting because you forgot who you are. After 333 years of dehumanizing experience from Spain, 48 years of insults from America, 4 years of oppression from Japan, 70 years of slavery from China, by China, you have forgotten who you are. My business as a pastor, a lawyer, president, is to wake you up and tell you who you are. You know who you are? Huh? You know who you are? Remember this way. Lawton, Henry Ware Lawton. You know what he said about you? These Filipinos are the bravest men I have ever seen. This guy. Why did he say that? Because you used to be. Until the time you forgot yourself. You used to be the bravest men in the world. Lawton say for himself, in the midst of war, Filipinos jumping into the flaming mouths of cannons to defy foreign oppression in the Philippines. And he said, oh my God, these are the bravest men I've ever seen. You Filipinos, you used to be the bravest, but they forgot that. And you know this guy? This is MacArthur. General Douglas H. MacArthur. You know what he said? After the Filipinos fought in the Battle of Yoltong, he said, give me 10,000 Filipinos. Give me 10,000 Filipinos and I will conquer the world. 10,000. That is how MacArthur saw you. MacArthur was proud of you. He believed in you, but you have forgotten yourselves, my friends. I pity you. And you know what he said before the American Congress? Let me read what he said. I don't want to be wrong in what he said, all right? The story of the resistance of the Filipino people to the Japanese occupation of their land is a saga of unflagging loyalty to the United States and the American people, even in the most trying moments of their history, even in the most tragic moment of their history. Wow, right? And let me read it again. The story of the resistance of the Filipino people to the Japanese occupation of their land is a saga of unflagging loyalty to the United States of America and the American people, even in the most tragic hours of human history. MacArthur. So, you're so good, so loyal. Now, where is your loyalty to your country? You are loyal to America, yes, fine. But where is your loyalty to your country? Where is your bravery, which Lawton said, saw in you? You have forgotten. You used to brave people, right? And you still have forgotten that, what foreigners told you. Remember the 1521 battles of Mactan, Battle of Mactan. You know what happened? The mightiest power on earth was shamed, routed on the shores of Mactan by you, Filipinos. In your blood runs that fiery blood of Lapu-Lapu who refuses to be enslaved. But you have forgotten that, my friends. You have forgotten it. Remember the Battle of Bohol. The shores of Bohol once became red crimson blood, tainted the shorelines of Bohol. Thousands of Spaniards died in Bohol because Francisco Sandrias, alias Daguhoy, refused to surrender, refused to be enslaved for nearly 1 century. You are descendants of Bohol. I mean, Francisco Daguhoy. Remember this, Kodara, the battles of Mindanao. Namumula ang dagat sa Mindanao, walang foreigner nakapasok sa Mindanao. Because of Sultan Kodara. You are children of Kodara. You are children of Kodara. But what happened to you? You slept too long, my friends, and you forgot who you are. Remember the 1898 war against Spain. 1898 war against Spain. Right? Remember. We won against Spain. But, you know, America cheated us and claimed the victory. And then remember this, finally, remember this. The Second World War battle against Japan. 8 million Japanese. 8 million Japanese. Routed by 2,000 Filipinos armed only with sanggots and bolos and lagaraos and achas and paracors, whatever, were routed. The army, the mightiest army of the Japanese Empire here on Philippine soil. Just like what happened here at the Battle of Yordong. 40,000 Chinese against 1,000 Filipinos. Shame, humiliated. You're brave, you're great. You were great. Now what are you today? Huh? You who are listening to me. Ano na kayo ngayon? Duwag. You are the perfect reflection of Rodrigo Duterte. Kaya, love na love niyo si Duterte. Kasi halos kayong lahat kamukha ni Duterte. Yung loko-loko, duwag, nagmumura, pangit, lahat nagkapangitan, nagtawan dyan sa iyo. Naging reflections kayo ni Duterte. 16 million reflections of Duterte. Ang ginawa ko, maski ako ay nilalait ninyo, ginigising ko kayo sa mahimbing ng pagkatulog sa gabi ng inyong pagkaalipin. Wake up. Believe me. Stop calling me nuisance. I am not nuisance. Other countries think I am brilliant. Macapagal thought I should be the president because I am brilliant. The American embassy says I'm honest and I pet you. Marcos said I was his favorite student leader and proudly presented me to the President of the United States of America. Yun lang kayo mga gonggong, yung mga basher, you think I am nuisance. Forget that. If you don't believe me, believe yourselves. Tonight, I'm reminding who you are, you were, and how great you can be. Reclaim that honor before the August bar of history. Fight! Regain your dignity. Yun lang masabi ko. Now, maraming mangyaring masama. But anong i-prefer nyo? Mawala tayo, matay tayo lahat, o papatayin natin sila? In Indonesia, between 1965 and 1966, 3 million to 5 million Chinese are massacred by the Indonesians. Tarantado, gago, mga, dalo, hambugiro, they were all massacred by the Indonesians. I'm not telling you to do that here, but if you have to do it to save this country from shame, from humiliation, from centuries of oppression and slavery, do it. If you have to, you will be the ultimate judge, and you will be facing Allah, Bathala, before the bar of history to justify what you are doing. But if you are doing that because you want to worship Bathala, because China does not believe in God, because China is at present putting in the internment camp about 1.5 Uyghurs, Muslims, Christians. Well, before that happens to you, you can do. You have every right before God to defend yourselves as human beings. They have the right to insult you. They have the right to look down on you. They have a right to be respected as a creation of God, one of the finest creations of God. You have that right. And I want you to assert that right. Ang problema natin sa ating pagka-ignorante, forma na lang, forma. Magandang necktie, forma. May utak, wala talagang laman. Nangyari doon sa Permanent Court of Arbitration sa The Hague under the United Nations Convention on the Law on the Seas. Panalo na tayo. Pero maski unggoy pa nadala mo doon, panalo pa rin. But we could have won more, better, performed better if they knew the law. That the truth is, half of China, as I told you, kalahati ng China. Atin yan. Why? That was conquered by MacArthur. And MacArthur was our employee. Employer tayo. So when MacArthur conquered East Asia, including mainland China, one half of that belonged to us because we employed MacArthur. We paid him $500,000 as an employee. All right? So kung alam yan sa mga gonggong tarantado, walang kwenta, I'm sorry, I'm saying this. Napugado natin si Helve, si Hardelisa, si whatever, Jack Kalida. O, di ba na just sitting there? Ilan man binaya natin sa lawyers abroad? Yung foreign lawyers, $7 billion. Eh, gonggong rin, walang alam yung binayaran. Sana yung $7 billion natin, dapat binigay sa pobre yun by binili ng vaccine. They hired stupid lawyers. We sent stupid representatives to Geneva, and we won. Well, nominal victory. We sent a stupid delegate to the San Francisco Treaty of Peace between America and the Japanese people. Walang sinasabi yung gago, tarantadong Filipino delegate doon. Umuupo lang, nagpaporma-porma. Alam mo yung Filipino kuminsan, maski paano forma unggoy pa rin yung mukha. Tulad to. Walang ginawa. So again, my friends, hindi na ako magdakdak kasi maski paano sabihin ko mukhang wala na mangyayari. Pinipilit ko lang na inigising ko kayo. I want you to remember again and again and again the Treaty of San Francisco of 1951, September 8, 1951. The Treaty of San Francisco. This Far East Asia was conquered by our employee, MacArthur, and one half of East Asia belonged to us. Theoretically. But we forgot history. Alam mo, we are only as good as what we know. We cannot be better than what we don't know. All right? So, hindi man lang tayo pwedeng panalo. Lahat ng mga tao na inapi noon, panalo. Remember what I've been telling you? Sa 480 BC? Before Christ? 480 before Christ. At the Battle of Thermopylae. At the Battle of Thermopylae. 300 Spartans stopped the forces of Xerxes, about 700,000. Pinaulanan ng pinaulanan siya ng araw. The skies were darkened by the arrows that was flying over Leonidas. He fought and saved Sparta and the other Greek city-states. The Battle of Thermopylae. You can do the same. Because according to Lawton, you are the bravest men he ever saw. According to MacArthur, give me 10,000 Filipinos and I will conquer the world. You are brave, but you forgot about it. Remember the 1954 Battle of Dien Bien Phu. All right. Vietnam routed 87,000 French, drove them back to France to reclaim the honor of their ancestors. Because they remembered what Indian Chief Seattle said, the soil on which we walk on, the soil under our feet responds more lovingly to our people, to our feet. The soil under our feet, the dust under our feet, responds more lovingly to our footsteps because they are the ashes of our ancestors. Lahat ng bansa na lumalaban para sa bansa nila, para sa kapakanan nila, para sa mga kamag-anak nila, para sa lahi nila, panalo. Why? They have every reason to survive in this part of the world. The Philippines belongs to us and to us alone. Sabi ni Quezon, there is only one thought I wish you always to bear in mind. The Philippines is your country, the only country God has given you. You must protect the Philippines for yourselves, for your children and your children's children, until the world is no more. So to conclude, I am ordering all Filipinos to do whatever they think is necessary to reclaim their dignity, to reclaim their country, every inch of the Philippines. Reclaim every inch of the Philippines, implement my 2014 March 22 declaration of war against China, implement it now, today. Wage war against China here on Philippine soil. I don't care if the shores, the waters of the Philippines will turn red because of Chinese blood. Reclaim your dignity before God, before Allah. Long live Allah. Long live the Filipino people. Long live our future. As what Morg used to say, ad astra, to the stars, to victory. Thank you, and good night.
Okay kayo, sir.
Ha?
Guwapo tayo mga paan eh.
Ha?
Guwapo tayo mga message.
Ha?
Excited kayo, sir.
Dapat
Gising talaga yung Pilipino doon.